Hello and Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to CxO Global Forum. As you all know, that CxO Global Forum is a knowledge sharing platform. We bridge organizations into greater exposure within their respective industries. Today we have a very respectable guest who's also one of our member, Shiraz Arshad. Assalamu alaikum Shiraz, कैसे हैं आप?
जी वालेकुम सलाम। सब ठीक ठाक। आप कैसे हैं?
मैं भी ठीक हूँ. थैंक यू सो मच फॉर जॉइनिंग अस टुडे. शिराज, आज आपकी जर्नी से स्टार्ट करेंगे. सबसे पहले तो आपकी एजुकेशनल जर्नी, जो भी आपकी एजुकेशन थी, सारी चीजें वो जानना चाहेंगे.
जी बिल्कुल। So thank you for having me here, Sidra. Really appreciate the opportunity to talk. My name is Shiraz Arshad, and I am basically currently running my own organization by the name of Revive. It's Growth Hive. So my journey started off from. So I'm a computer engineer by background. I started as a computer engineer. Honestly speaking, I don't know why I went into computer engineering itself, because at that point in time I didn't had any passion for computers or technology. But I
Okay.
started. I initially went into electronic engineering and then moved into computer engineering. But that was the point where my passion for technology started. And then after my engineering, I worked in different organizations and worked as the head of IT for a couple of organizations, mainly looking at the systems and the complete information technology part. So that was like my initial career span. I also worked for a government organization in R&D, but predominantly I was working as an IT head for different organizations, mainly for MNCs. Then my mentor said that I'm good at people and I need to move into people business. So I started moving into operations. That was
Okay.
way back in 2007 and 8, where I started to do more of operational stuff with IT stuff. And
Okay.
this was a big change for me, because at that point in time, I did like a lot of certifications in CISA, CSAM in security, IT security, and all those things. Uh,
Yeah.
but um, but I moved into people, and I was heading like good 300 people at that time, managing their entire stuff. Obviously, I had a team, but that was a
Mhm.
change in 2008 where I moved into operations. And then from operations, one of the things that I realized was obviously, for any business, the business acumen is very, very necessary.
Okay.
So I did my MBA, and after my MBA, I started more moving into the business side of things. Became head of business of one organization, a multinational organization. So around like good. So I'm my career background is 22 years, and I've spent good
Okay.
18, 19 years with MNCs. I became the head of their business division. The name of the company was GFK, and I started running their business operations in Pakistan, and that's
Okay.
how my business journey started. And I went more deep into business, managing business portfolios and stuff like that. So, so one thing which I realized while I was doing this was that I didn't had too much exposure in the Pakistan market. So,
Okay.
as I said, most of my career span has been working with different MNCs.
Mhm.
So I joined. So I took another jump, and my career journey is like quite a seesaw. So I took another jump. I joined an aviation company,
Okay.
totally out of the scope that I was working before.
Mhm.
So I was
Okay.
working for a technology company before, and then
Yeah. Yeah.
I moved to aviation company as a COO, Chief Operating Officer, and then
Mhm.
a deputy CEO in that company. So
Okay.
again, that company was also an MNC, but their operations, the entire marketing and sales was based in Pakistan. Um,
Okay.
so I so I started heading that company in Pakistan. The name of the company
Okay.
was Shiraz. It's a travel giant coming out from Spain,
Okay.
and I was selling their portfolio in Pakistan. So my goal of knowing the Pakistan market started from there. That was in 2019, early 2019, and as we know, by end of 2019, COVID happened,
Yeah.
and the aviation industry was like a nosedive. So people
Yeah.
face loss of revenue. We face zero revenue. So because like in aviation, you book a ticket and then you pay
Mm.
beforehand. But once
Yeah.
the flights were cancelled, we had to pay it back. So we went from positive to negative, and it was really
Yeah.
a difficult time for the aviation industry altogether in COVID. So I got some time at this point in time because flights were not happening. I guess everybody had that time.
Mm.
So I had really this passion of scaling and growing companies. So in my previous tenure also, when I was working as a head of business, I really wanted to see how you can grow and scale a company, because
Okay.
like even having 1 billion in euro revenue for the German company that I was working, they were struggling. So that got me
Mm.
going as to what it takes for companies to grow, scale. And I started my research like 5 years back. So in 2019, when COVID happened, right after that, in 2020 earlier, I did certification in business coaching from US, and I started my journey as a business coach. And my primary goal at that point in time was to help companies to scale and grow, and fall out of that trap of how, like, like there are a lot of startups, but there are very like few scale ups. So out of
Yeah.
100, there are like 5% who scale, 95% fail. So keeping that in
Mm-hmm.
mind, my purpose was to actually ensure that how I can help organization grow and scale. So I started my
Okay.
own company by the name of Growth Hive, which I now lead as a founder and CEO.
Yeah.
And I did business coaching certification. I did exponential organization certification. That's another company based out of US. So I am their ambassador in Pakistan. And my last venture last year, which I started, was based on culture. So when I went into organization and tried to help them grow, the culture of growth was not there. Even like the culture itself was not there. People don't understand what organization culture is, to be honest enough. So I
Mm.
became a culture consultant last year, and now I'm
Okay.
having organization mainly in UAE with the culture and growth aspirations.
Okay, very nice and very inspiring also. Thank you so much for sharing all of your, I mean, your journey to Groovy also. Okay, Shiraz, अभी जो next question मेरा है कि since आपने ये अपनी journey share की है, तो इसमें obviously there must be someone who really inspired you, because we all have some inspiration in our lives that keep us going, right? So I want to know कि आपको who really inspired you in all of your journey, in this journey, right?
I think there are two, three people. So if I were to start from my, and I'll be short, I know I've taken a lot of time on my introduction, but so in my education side, when I was in my university, so Athar Mehboob, who's I guess he's still the current dean of Bahawalpur University. So he was teaching
Okay.
us at that point in time. At that point in time, he flew from US, and he was very new to the Pakistan market as well. So he started teaching us computer engineering at that point in time, and data and all those things. So he was a great influence on me deciding where I want to go in my computer journey, and what I want to do in the field of IT. So that was the first person I think was who was really inspiring, who showed me the path. As I said, I didn't had too much of interest in technology at that point in time, but he actually shaped up how I wanted to move forward. The second person, I would say, was the CEO of this company by the name of Utilize, which actually became GFK. So it was a tech company. The CEO was based in US. His name is Azhar Hamid. So he basically instilled this capability in us to actually think big, and how you can achieve what you really want to achieve, and how we being sitting in Pakistan can make a difference. I think that was the biggest thing that happened to me. It was in 2005, because we had at that point in time a dream of being a data company, same as Google. So we had this North Star, which really drive us. So just to let you know, so I spent good 5 years. So every year I was changing jobs, but in that company, because of the motivation and the purpose, I stayed there for a good 14 years. So he was a great inspiration. He showed us like how things are happening. And then the last person was Parvez Ali Khan. He was MD for the same organization. Um, I have never seen a person who is so humble in doing how he was doing things, in how he treated people, in how he actually was so passionate about doing things with commitment and zeal. So I think these are the three people who have really made a difference, who have actually shown me how things could be done. And as you know, like as young guns, as I was before, we have a lot of passion, as well as sometimes anxiety, anger as well. So I think these guys have really honed my skills in a way that I still feel they have done a lot in my career.
ओके, इंस्पिरेशन तो आपने शेयर की। अब आपकी स्ट्रगल और हर्डल्स की तरफ आते हैं। हर किसी की जर्नी में देयर मस्ट बी सम हर्डल्स व्हेनेवर यू आर इन बिजनेस और यू आर इन जॉब और एनीवेयर। सो इफ यू कैन शेयर सम ऑफ योर स्ट्रगल्स, सो मे बी जो भी आपको व्यूवर्स सुन रहे हैं, इफ समबडी इज गोइंग थ्रू सेम, तो उनको भी मोटिवेशन मिल सके राइट नाउ। तो अपनी स्ट्रगल और हर्डल्स हमारे साथ शेयर करें।
जी। सो सो जैसे मैंने कहा, सो इन इन टर्म्स ऑफ स्ट्रगल, एक तो स्ट्रगल जो सबसे ज़्यादा थी वो ये थी ऑब्वियसली टू डिसाइड लाइक विच पाथ टू टेक एंड व्हाट कैरियर टू सेलेक्ट। ऑब्वियसली ये मेरे ख्याल में सबके साथ ही होता है।
या
Or I think getting into the market initially, and like the first struggle is obviously for someone, जब आप start करते हैं तो how you get to the market, आप अपने आप को किस तरह से presentable बनाते हैं and उस चीज़ को लेके चलते हैं। I think one of the area that I realized was कि consistency is the key. Everybody says that you have to be consistent in what you do. Um, तो तो आई थिंक वो एक बड़ा एरिया था व्हेन आई वाज स्ट्रगलिंग टू गेट माय फर्स्ट जॉब। आई वाज आई वाज वेरी फोकस्ड on that, and I keep on trying to make that happen. उसके बाद I think what has been very kind in terms of things that have been shaping us for me. um, the other area was obviously I realized कि जो skill level है उसको आपको continuously improve करना है। तो one of the big struggle for me was to get to an MBA program. Not to get to an MBA program, but complete my MBA program
या
with the job. So it took me a long time, but that was a struggle in my education side, where
या
um, where I was struggling. But at the end of the day, it took me like 5-6 years to get it done. But I eventually made that happen in 2008. Um, उसके बाद आई थिंक जो आपको प्रोफेशनल स्ट्रगल की अगर आप बात करें, one thing which I've realized over the year is that um, as individuals we need to define our purpose in life. वो थोड़ा आपको देर से समझ में आता है कि हम
या
एक्चुअली करने क्या जा रहे हैं। हम ये जो सारी आई वुड कॉल इट एज अ रैट रेस जिसमें लगे हुए हैं,
या
उसका एंड गोल क्या है। तो आई थिंक वो स्ट्रगल्स जो हैं वो ख़त्म हो जाती हैं वंस यू रियलाइज योर एंड गोल, क्योंकि
या
फिर आप जिस चीज़ को भी देखते हैं वो एज अ चैलेंज देख लेते हैं रादर देन समथिंग विच इज़ अ स्ट्रगल। तो सो व्हेन आई वाज शिफ्टिंग कैरियर, सो एक चीज़, सो मैंने एक जगह आई स्टार्टेड वर्किंग, और 3 महीने बाद उस कंपनी ने कहा कि आई डोंट वांट दिस फंक्शन एनी मोर। वो द टेक्सटाइल यूनिट, और आपको पता है थोड़ा मैन्युफैक्चरिंग में डिफिकल्टी होता है मैनेज करना। तो सो आई वाज जॉबलेस फॉर गुड 3-4 months। Okay, I was working for an organization. I moved to one organization. उन्होंने कहा जी you don't want your services right now. So at that point in time, I realized a lot of things here. Skills आपके होने for sure ज़रूरी है, as I said. But as I said, God has been very kind. उसको मुझे थोड़े बाद टाइम बाद ही जॉब मिल गया, and then I have developed this habit of continuously improving and learning. So never stop improving and never stop learning is kind of a mantra that I follow. I still learn, as I said, I'm doing certifications because that is something that we do. So yeah, all in all, I think God has been very kind. बहुत ज़्यादा professional level पे I didn't face any major struggles, but a lot
या
of lesson learns in terms of growing yourself, seeing things from a different perspective altogether, having an end goal in mind, defining a purpose first. I think every individual, every company needs to be a purpose-driven company as a start-off point, and then
या
that's how you know exactly where you're going towards.
ट्रू, बिल्कुल। स्ट्रगल्स जो हैं वो लर्निंग एक्सपीरियंस होती है बेशक। अच्छा शिराज, सिंस यू आर इन दिस फील्ड, यू हैव बीन वर्किंग सो मेनी बिजनेसेस एंड गिविंग देम रेवेन्यू एज यू सेड। आपकी फील्ड से मुतालिक एक सवाल है कि व्हाट डू यू थिंक व्हाट लैक्स इन पाकिस्तानी बिजनेसेस? आई मीन देयर आर सो मेनी स्टार्टअप्स, वो खुलते हैं बंद हो जाते हैं, राइट? देयर आर सो कंपनीज, दे कांट, वो चल नहीं पाती, या क्या होता है वो फिर। So what do you think? What are the things that lack in a business so they are not able to grow?
जी। सो बहुत अच्छा सवाल है आपका, और आई बीन रिसर्चिंग ऑन दिस फॉर मैनी इयर्स नाउ। सो जैसे मैंने पहले शेयर किया था, तो आई थिंक वन ऑफ द key area that most of the company are missing in Pakistan as well as abroad also is the foundational element. And then when I say foundation, फाउंडेशन के अंदर तीन मेजर चीज़ें हैं जिसको मैं कंसिडर करता हूँ. उसके अंदर सबसे पहली चीज़ है जो मैंने अभी शेयर किया था, वो ये है कि दे डोंट हैव अ पर्पस इन माइंड. इफ़ यू आर जस्ट trying to build an organization जिसका and it the whole purpose is to make money, तो वो एक different ball game है altogether. The second
Yeah.
key area is the culture of the organization. So people don't put effort into culture. They don't understand what the culture is and how culture can drive performance.
Mm.
Um, how they can use the values to lead, and then how they can be ethical in doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
And the third element is the leadership. So there was a recent event by Jim Collins in US, and one of the takeaways from that event was, for companies initially, the problem should not be a what problem, it is a
Okay.
who problem.
Mm.
So so you need to figure out who's the person, who is the
Yeah.
client. So I think
Mm.
that's an area where we missed the initial setup, and
Yeah.
obviously it's a mixture of all those things, but the foundational element needs to be strong, the who part needs to be strong. It is the people who make the company or break the company. So I think that is where ball drops in terms of the
Yeah.
other element. For startups specifically, because
Mm.
you see, growth for in whichever time frame you are as a company, the growth
Mm.
parameters and designs would vary. So for
Okay.
startups specifically, because to be honest now, my sweet spot is not startup, but I have worked with a couple of startup, one in Pakistan and one in Bahrain, and helped them in their journey. So for
Mm.
startup, there are two main things that they need to ensure that it's absolutely right before they do anything. The one is the product market fit. So whatever you are selling as a product, there has to be a need, and people are willing to buy that product, right? So if you have made a product that nobody needs, or you're trying to push something which is like not an approach which Apple has, but right. So every company cannot be an Apple as a starting point, but still.
Yeah.
So the product market fits, and then once you have that, then how you're going to market it, how you're going to position that product, is very important for startups that they need to ensure. That's why most of the startups struggle because the product market fit is not there. They are trying to sell something where the problem does not exist. So you have to solve a problem. If the
Yeah.
problem is not being solved, then eventually it's going to go down the drain. And once that happens, then it's a journey for scale. Then
Yeah.
it's a different structure altogether. Um, and for companies who are already past the product market fit, I think their strategy and execution is the next piece. So I say three things: foundation,
Yeah.
strategy, and execution. If you're able to address these three things, you have a far better chance of scaling and growing than other companies.
Yeah, true. And market research also is very important wherever you're working, right? So true that everything comes together. Thank you so much, Shiraz, for all of your journey, and everything was so inspiring also, and sharing such knowledgeable information with us. Last thing that if you want to share something for, about CXO Global Forum,
Yeah,
or you
absolutely.
can say
So
something. Mm.
no, no. So I've been in touch with Kamal, who's heading CxO for I think a couple of years now,
Okay.
but I wasn't part of the CxO forum itself formally.
Mm.
So I've been trying, but I think due to some other reasons, I was not able to join the group. But to be honest, and this is not to brag about anything, but my tenure with the group itself is very short right now. But I've seen
Yeah.
tremendous value. I think, and it has to do with the fact that how Kamal and other team members are passionate about helping others.
Yeah.
I cannot quote an exact example, maybe it would not be right, but still, the value that I've seen, like in the past couple of months, in itself has been great. So I would definitely recommend anyone who wants to be part of a community, who wants to interact with others, who wants to make a mark. And I think it's an excellent forum for voicing out your portfolio, whatever you feel like you need to bring into the market and world. So I think
Yeah.
excellent forum, great job by CXO in shaping this up and bringing our voice to the world and to different other team members.
Okay, thank you, Shiraz. Thank you so much for your time. And everyone, whoever is watching, thank you so much for joining us today. And इसी के साथ ही this session is going to end. And so Allah Hafiz.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.